This is a small brief before others they join us. Just a brief where the Karnataka Qualified Homeopathic Doctors Association that we have conducted a series of webinars since this COVID lockdown has started. Since then, there's so many, and some of the showing one by one. See, the first we started with the response and containment measures, the COVID-19 by Dr. Anil Khurana and Dr. Ramesh Bhaskar. So like that, we have continued with another webinar by the essence of acids, sulfuric acid by Dr. B.D. Patel and acetic acid by me and picric acid by Dr. H.L. Swami. And then we continued with the mental health in and after COVID-19 pandemics, role of homeopathy and homeopaths in prevention and care by Dr. Kumar Dhawale and Dr. Manoj Patel. And another thing, a very interesting webinar on prevent future corona by Dr. B.D. Patel sir. And another international webinar by Dr. Andre Sayane and Dilip Dikshit. And another webinar by Kavya and Parimal Joshi. And homeopathy in pediatric neurodevelopmental disorders by Madhuri Vaidyeshwar. And COVID-19 management in different parts of India. And another webinar by Learning the Clinical Practice by CB Matthew as well as and another international webinar by Dr. Dora Pachova and Dr. Kushali Gambhir, and another webinar, national webinar by Nagendra Babu and Dr. R. Prakash Shanai, and another in coordination with Velma Schwabe. We had an international webinar by participants like Dr. B.D. Patel, Dr. A.K. Gupta, M.K. Sahani, Dr. Praveen Suvarna, Muralidharan, and myself, Dr. H.L. Swami, and Dr. R. Valavan. And we had a last wonderful of different doctors. And today is come and join KQHD and become a late member. Get an opportunity to share clinical experience and cases, sharing and discussion of
class on doctors in the topic.
See, now I request our secretary, Dr. Subha, to make a formal welcome of the participants. Dr. Subha.
Excuse me, sir. Before Dr. Shubha starts, I request all the participants to mute yourself. And Dr. Anusha, I think she got logged out. We have to again wait for her to join in.
She's facing some power cut issues, something like that. She was messaged.
But you just make a welcome of the things, and by that time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
Sure. Please, everyone mute. Dr. Pramila, please mute. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. KQHDA, Karnataka Qualified Homeopathic Doctors Association, started its journey in the beginning years of 1990s. Under the guidance of Dr. B.D. Patel, Dr. H.L. Swami, and Dr. for 30 years of the once the pandemic of COVID-19 had started, when we were facing the lockdown period, KQHDA had reached to you almost every week with international and national speakers. On top of this, we were conducting national seminars every year, which is related to Hanuman's Day celebrations. I request everyone to be a part of KQHDA and enjoy our teamwork. I'm so glad to welcome our speakers to this platform. I give a hearty welcome to Dr. Shelly Sharma for today's session. I also welcome my colleague, my friend, and ex-General Secretary and Vice President, Dr. Deba Raje, for today's session. She is a backbone of KQHDA. Everyone knows her, and there is no need of her introduction among our KQHDA members. And I welcome our treasurer, my colleague, my friend, Dr. Tripti Pai. Warm welcome, dear. And she is the master brain behind KQHDA's website, which is, her hard work is a lot, which is to be appreciated. And she coordinates almost all the webinars which is running recently. Our new member, Dr. Anusha Kulkarni, a blooming homeopath, yet she is a very experienced speaker. I welcome you, dear. I welcome our Paite, Dr. B.D. Patel, our President, Dr. Shripath Hegde, our Chairman, Dr. H.N. Swami, ex-presidents, Dr. Praveen Kumar, Dr. Srinivas Sir, Dr. Chaitali Kulkarni, and our recent vice presidents, Dr. Debama and Dr. Chirant, our joint secretaries, Dr. Sanjay and Dr. Manisha, our team members, Dr. Anusha, Dr. Sushila Rao, Dr. Pratima, Dr. Amit, Dr. Krishnamurthy, Dr. Uttam Shetty, and all, Dr. Farooq too. Last but not least, our viewers who are the strength of every webinar. I welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Subha. Now I will hand over back to Dr. Sanikar, please.
Thank you, sir, for letting me to introduce the speakers. I would like to introduce Dr. Shelly Sharma. She is a very young homeopath, and as I can see that she's actually done her MD from Magdum Homeopathic Medical College, and in 2011 she has done her PhD scholarship from she's a PhD scholar from Janardhan Rai Nagar University, Udaipur, and she has done also her PG from Greece, IACH from Greece, and she has presented a lot of papers and also into articles on the web. So she's a very aspiring and interested homeopath who is looking forward to have some effective results and examples to be set for the young homeopaths. I welcome her to present her paper during this seminar. Welcome, Dr. Shelley, and please start your talk.
I'm Dr. Shelly. I'm from Mumbai, Maharashtra, and I'm very glad that today I've got an opportunity to be present on this wonderful platform. And I'm very glad I first time met Dr. Shripath sir, and I was really thrilled to see his enthusiasm when I'm involved collaboratively for homeopathy and the kind of work we're doing since long.
There's some problem with your voice, Shelly.
Is it? Hello?
Now it is clear.
Yeah, now it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Fine. So I'm really inspired by looking every one of you. Your work is wonderful. I mean, the way you're working. I know Shripath sir personally, but your whole team is wonderful team. A lot of energy, full of energy and enthusiasm. So I would like to thank Karnataka Qualified Homeopathic Doctors Association for giving me such a wonderful platform. I would like to thank Dr. Samuel Hahnemann once again. I always start with my talk thanking him because of him we got this wonderful science homeopathy, and my teachers, my guru Dr. Bhosle sir and Dr. Vitalka sir. So today we have a very interesting topic, which is challenges in pediatric cases. Why we say the word challenge is because what I believe is pediatric is that stage in a child's life where he is not able to talk, where he is not able to speak, and we expect that we have to understand whatever they are communicating. So it's a very big challenge to treat pediatric cases, and especially for homeopaths, it's a very big challenge, is because we have to understand the mentals of the child. We have to understand the psychology of the child. We have to understand why this child fell sick, right? It is very easy to prescribe with specifics and treat a child like you have cold and cough, you give alum cepa, you have sore throat, you give belladonna, or you have lung infection, you give kali salt. But as a homeopath, we have to do something beyond this. This is what I would like to talk about, how we can go beyond specifics in pediatric cases, understanding the mind of the child, what approach we can take. It will be a as it's a very short lecture, I'll try to give my maximum input into it. So today, we'll start with this topic. We'll start with the case. So it is a case of an acute, uncomplicated urinary tract infection with cystitis, and this case was treated without antibiotics in a child. She was just a 4-year-old girl. So this child was 4-year-old girl, and she was getting this repeated urinary tract infection. Her pus counts were always more than 50, 60, 70, 80, or up to 100 since 1 to 2 years. So am I audible to everyone, sir? Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Continue.
Okay, so this child had acute clinical, this was an acute clinical case of urinary tract infection. And what we did was we approached this case with a very individual homeopathic treatment. During this treatment, we took all our investigations before and after, which I will show later on. So this is a first 4-year-old girl, and she had pyuria. She had all these symptoms since 5 days. Her mother said whenever she goes for urination, she starts weeping. She has frequent urging to urinate. She used to go to urine after every 5 minutes, after every 10 minutes. And whenever she used to go to urination, she used to cry. And ultimately, since 5 days, her mother was telling that her urine output had come down. So they said, now we want to go for homeopathy because my child is suffering with this condition since 1.5 years. She has this repeated urine infection. We are repeatedly giving her antibiotics, but every time her counts are increasing whenever she have the relapse of her acute complaint. So taking the past history, the child had the similar episodes before, and she is not she's not responding very well to conventional treatment. She has history of typhoid 2 times, family history no specific. To look into the appetite, her appetite has decreased since 1 week. Her food desires are of sweet, fish, mutton. Her aversions are sour, milk. Her thirst is decreased since she has this urine infection, and she's having a low grade fever. Her temperature is between around 9900. It's fluctuating, it is not going above that. So again, we have to make sure whenever we are treating pediatric cases, what we do is we are scared of temperature, we are scared of fever, right? Sometimes we need fever in the patient, we need febrile reaction. And whenever we are expecting febrile reaction in our patients, we have to intimate the parent that, see, the child may get fever, don't get scared of fever, because fever is nothing but an immune reaction to the complaint. Somewhere this child was falling sick, she had urinary tract infection, somewhere her immunity was not strong enough to fight that infection. Secondly, it was being suppressed by conventional medicines. Every time she's getting fever, they are suppressing, and now this girl is having fever during urinary tract infection, which is just around 100. Bowel no complaint. Her perspiration is scanty with warm soles and palms. Her sleep, she usually, this girl sleeps in a knee elbow position this way. Whenever she's sleeping, she throws off all her coverings during sleep. So why I detailed thing about sleep position, perspiration is total. For every parent, the child is the best child in the world. My child is the best child. They will never tell negative about the child, right? Sometimes physical generals are one of the most important things. So I usually in pediatric cases try to know how the child sleep, how is the position of her sleep, because these are uncompensated expressions of the child. The sleep is on the abdomen, the sleep is on side. Does your child take covering? How is the perspiration? These are one of the most confirmation symptoms or rubrics for our cases. So thermally, the child is hot. So looking into the mentals of the child is a very restless. Whenever she has this complaint, she becomes very restless. The mother says whenever she gets this urine complaint, she's restless. She will not sit at one place. She will sometimes break the things. She will run from one place to another. And one more important thing, she said whenever she gets this urine infection and otherwise also, my daughter, she starts shouting at everyone. She's this 4-year-old girl. She has an elder sister, which is 7 years old. She will shout at her elder tell her with the air of command, come here, sit here, why are you not listening to me? Shout at her mother. If she says, no, I want dosa. Her mother says, no, I cannot give you dosa. No, I want dosa means I want dosa. I want dosa. So she was shouting to everyone and she wanted everyone to follow her instructions. She was just sitting and giving instructions to everyone. Her mother said. She will sit and she will say, Papa, get me chocolate today. I want chocolate today. This was her way of talking. A 4-year-old talking like this. It's something which is very important for us to note, right? Again, further, her mother says the child, whenever she's angry, she starts pulling her mother's hair. She starts biting her mother. Okay. This girl have lost toys, but she will never share her belongings or share her toys with her sister. She will never. She will take her sister's toy, but she will never share with her sister. Her bag, her toys, her plate, even her plate, she is very specific. I want to eat in this plate means I want to eat in this plate, and she's never ready to share her plate with any. Her sister also. She's very specific. This is my towel. I will not share my towel with everyone. This is my clip. I will not share my clip with anyone. She doesn't share her belongings with anyone, not even to her sister. And she easily used to get angry, and most of the time they noted that whenever she was angry, she started using abusive language. Like just imagine a girl of 4 years using abusive language like dog or in Hindi. You can understand her expression of anger was a abusive language, right? Now these are very important symptoms for us. Why? Because not every child at the age of 4 will be abusive. Not every child at the age of 4 will be talking in a more what do you call instructional language. Had been a pulsatilla, she would have been more mild, she would have been more gentle, she would not have been more demanding, rather than she would have been more piteous. Her cry, her approach would have been very piteous, in a way that the opposite person should feel bad and they should come and console. But she was a totally opposite child. So it's very important to know what is the disposition of a child whenever we are treating case. Okay, she is a very angry girl. Specifically, when things go against her will, she gets very angry. She's having a lot of fear of feather. That was something strange. Fear of cotton. She's fearful and shy in front of strangers. So whenever there are guests in a house, she will never show her tantrums. She was in my clinic. She was not a tantrum girl. I mean, I was looking at her like she looks like an angel. She was so pretty. She was so beautiful. She was so cute. Like how you have usually calcaria phos patients, pulsatilla patients. You have carcinosin patients. They are very cute, no, medullarium childs. So she was very cute girl, right? But in front of strangers, she was very cute. But her parents said, "You come at home, doctor. She's very bossy." Especially with her parents and sister. She is very bossy child. We feel like we are working under a boss. So this was the feeling of a parent. Child is also, there's another angle to a child. She's very caring to her sisters. Her mother said that whenever her sister is crying, we shout at her sister. Whenever if anyone is sick at home, she will take care. She will give water. When her sister is crying, she will love care. Don't cry, sister. She'll do like that. And if someone is sick at home, she'll make sure give water. You're sick, you're okay, did you take medicine? She will ask these questions. So look at the polarity of the child, right? So her laboratory investigations were done, which was on 6-10, and her pulse cells were 60 to 70. Her blood cells in the urine were 6 to 5, and protein were in traces. So now how we have to approach the case? We just have 20 minutes, I suppose. I'll not stretch my talk today, but I'll just say, give you in short, like these kind of cases where there is a repeated acutes, right? The patient is getting better, there's an episode he's better, and then he again get the complaint. Then there's an episode when patient is better, and again the patient gets the complaint. So Hahnemann says that it is an acute exacerbation of the chronic disease. So it is not an acute disease, but we have to understand and treat it like a chronic disease. So how do we approach such kind of cases? So though this case was 5 days old, she had this urinary complaint since 5 years. She had this urine complaint, urgency of urination, etc. Since 5 days, but she has this repeated attack. What we approach this case is, we have to treat this case as an acute exacerbation of underlying chronic disease. So the case approach will be, we have to take the basic acute totality, as well as we have to search for the constitutional symptoms of the child. If we just give specific in this case, like for example, she has urinary tract infection, we give cantharides or we give sarsaparilla, what will happen? It will subside, but again it will get back, because we are not treating the fundamental cause, right? We are just treating the exciting cause. We are just treating the acute state. Okay, and we are treating like an allopathy. There's no difference between us and them. We are not breaking the tendency of the disease, right? As a homeopath, our aim has to break the tendency, which is coming repeated. For that, we have to have a more deeper constitutional approach of the case. So, her investigations, as I said, urine first cells were around 50 to 70, which is quite high. Child has progressive weakness. She was not able to sit for long. The child had similar episodes before also, and she was not responding. We all know that. So this was the totality taken for the case. I'll explain you why I took these symptoms. Careful of for others. So this rubric was very important for me, because a 4-year-old girl caring if someone is sick is very important for me. A 4-year-old girl, if someone is sick, giving glass of water is very important for me, right? A 4-year-old girl, if a sister is crying, she'll go and care and she'll nurture. It's very important for me. She shows a lot of care for others. Her mother even said, like, whenever her father is late, so she like, Papa, why he didn't come? He should have come by this time. He's okay now. Why he's not come? She will take a lot of care. She will call her father. Father, did you had your lunch? She's very close to her father. Did you had your lunch in the afternoons? Her father, Papa, come safe. So I took the rubric cares full of for others. Next rubric I took was dictatorial child. Why I selected this rubric was, the parents got a feeling as if they are under a boss. A 4-year girl is dominating. She's talking with air of command. She's so dictatorial. So we have to take a rubric which is dictatorial child, right? We need a dictatorial remedy. We need a child who is full of cares. Her anger is very quick. So we have to take anger easily. On little things she gets angry. Okay? Another important rubric which we cannot miss in this case was, she is very abusive when in anger. Not every 4-year-old child is abusive when they go in a state of anger. So this was again important for me. Her particular symptoms like pain, urination during, I took that rubric. Urine odor offensive, and she had a strong desire for sweet. So this is her investigating report. I hope it is visible for everyone. Her pus cell counts are 60 to 70. And so this was a repertorial chart, and I would love if you will all just tell me what remedies do you think about in this case. Anyone can suggest me remedies?
They have suggested already Lycopodium, Medorinum.
Acha, they have suggested. I'll just check the remedies. 1 minute. Okay, so I have Lycopodium, Medorinum. Okay. Anything else? You're very close to the remedy. Anything else you all can suggest? Tuberculinum. Okay, Pooja Jain. Nux vomica, absolutely fine. She's very angry. Stramonium. Okay. Lachesis. Okay. So this all shades we are seeing in this child, right? Some are telling lycopodium, tuberculinum, dulcamera, stramonium, hard on inferiors, perfect, vanilla, perfect, perfect. So we just have 5 minutes left. So I will go ahead with the case. So the remedy which I gave for this child was, I gave a dulcamera 1. Okay. And I'll explain you why I gave dulcamera. It's a very deep remedy mentally. I just gave 1 dose of dulcamera, and this is a report after 1 week. After 1 week, her pus cell came down to 1 to 2. Okay, and her reports were taken repeatedly after every month. Once she had a relapse, I again repeated dulcamera after 3 months, and after 6 to 8 months, the case was closed. She was perfectly nice. So why I selected dulcamera over lachesis? Because she is very dominating, bossy, like Nux vomica, like Lycopodium. She is like a Medorinum. Why I decided for dulcamera? So basically, the first thing which comes to everyone's mind is Lycopodium. Why? Hard on inferiors, soft on superiors. Okay, they are very dominating and dictatorial. So why lycopodiums are dominating and dictatorial, we have to understand the final differentiation, right? Lycopodiums are more dominating and dictatorial is because somewhere inside they have a feeling of inferiority. Somewhere inside they are very coward person. Somewhere inside they are very low confident person, but they have a strong desire to be powerful. Lycopodiums are primitive plants, right? In our ancient, like when there were no humans, right? Just before Stone Age and all, lycopodiums were big plants. They were very big, huge plants. But as the evolution came across, they became very small. Okay, so they were big and they have become very small. So is the personality of lycopodium. Okay, they have a strong desire to be big, they have strong desire to have power, they have strong desire to be dominating, they love power, but they lack confidence, they lack courage, they're very coward people, they are very intellectual people. But lycopodiums are hard on inferior and superiors because of their cowardice, lack of confidence. And lycopodiums are dominating because they want power. But this girl, Dulcamera, didn't want power. She was a very possessive child. Dulcamera patient and this my child are basically very possessive, no? This girl was not even ready to share her plate in which she eats. Like, this is my plate, I should be served only in this plate. She is my sister, I will dominate her. She is just my sister, I can treat her like anything. She is my father, I care for him, because why they are possessive is they care a lot about others. They are very caring people. Dulcamera people are very caring. They will go out of proportion to help others. Like Lactasis. How Lactasis is very possessive. You can see the same possessiveness in Dulcamera. Okay, so their possessiveness they are doing for others makes them a very dominating, angry people. Okay, and these people are very emotional, they are not intellectual people. Lycopodiums are more intellectual. You have a rubric intellect predominating emotions, but dulcamera are more emotional and not intellectual. So apne emotions mein this dulcamera can do anything for their loved ones, but you have to listen to me. I'll do anything for you, but when I say sit, you sit. When I say stand, you stand. She's very caring towards her loved ones again. So this is why I prefer dulcamera. Now getting to the end of this session, I can say is we have lot of challenges when we see pediatric cases, especially as a homeopath, because we have a lot of limitations. Our main criteria of prescription goes towards mind, right? Understand the underlying cause of the illness. So how we can make it easier? One is develop an art of observation. Observation will never fail. Most of the cases I solve with observations, especially in pediatrics. I don't rely much on parents because for every parent, their child is Krishna. Remember one thing: chori bhi karta hai, my child is Krishna. He is doing chori. Masti bhi karta hai, my child is Krishna. I'm just giving an example. So you have to develop an art of observation in treating pediatric cases. Second is mother's pregnancy history is must, because whatever goes in your mother's mind in these 9 months have a deeper impact on the child. Of course, you have to take case from the parents, dig into the cause, and most important, get friendly with the child. Whenever child enters your clinic, treat him like an adult. Hello, greet him, ask him to sit, give him a separate seat. Don't treat him like a child. Then the child will feel very confident with you and they would love to open up. Okay, so what we miss in our pediatric prescription and we give more acute is we give more specifics, we don't dig deep, we rely more on parents and bypass our observations. We miss to feel the essence of the child. Like as we said, we thought of lycopodium, but we miss no why she is dominating. We have to always ask for a rubric. Whenever you come to a rubric dictatorial, ask yourself why she is dictatorial. Why platinum is dictatorial is a different answer. Why lycopodium is dictatorial is different answer. Why camphora is dictatorial is different answer. And that why is the remedy of the patient. Always try to go to why. Mother's pregnancy, as I said, and you have to have the confidence to treat acute without antibiotics. And trust me, homeopathy is very faster than antibiotics if you hit the fundamental cause. Okay. So with ending this session, I would just like to say is whenever a sick child comes to your clinic, always ask yourself, what would you do if this was your child? Would you give specifics or would you hunt deeper and give a more deep-rooted similitude to the child? Always ask yourself question because a wrong remedy can spoil a child's future. Medicines can hit at the mental, emotional, psychological level of a patient. So we have to be very careful. So with this, I would like to end my today's talk. If we can be connected through my email address, my YouTube channel, and Facebook. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Shripad sir. Thank you, Karnataka Group, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shelly. It was really nice talk by you, and we really enjoyed it. And it was something interesting, which probably nobody would even think of, Dellcamera. So it was a wonderful, eye-opening case, and we all loved it. And now,
Stop
at
sharing,
least
please.